Hello, this is Mike Burek, your host and producer of Krynytsia, The Well, a podcast series about topics of interest to Ukrainians around the world. Today is Friday, August 22nd, 2025. This episode is produced for The Ukrainian Weekly, a newspaper published in English for the global Ukrainian community since 1933. Our guests today are Mike Dorsey, who's the director of a documentary, Sisters of Ukraine, and also one of the key characters in that documentary, Mother Maria Christiana Demyanchuk. Welcome to you both. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I'm good too. Thank you.
So, to start off with, I would like to get some educational and professional background from both of you. So, sister, maybe we can start with you.
Okay.
Where are you? Tell us your life story, Christiana.
Okay. I'm myself from Argentina, and I've been missioning in Ukraine since 1999, mostly in the western part of Ukraine. I lived for 1 year next to Odessa, but mostly in Ivano-Frankivsk. And yeah, I've been doing different kinds of work. Lastly, I've been working in a little school. We started in 2020, and that's where the war caught us. Yes. So,
Mike, how about
that's
you?
Sure. I'm a documentary filmmaker and docuseries television producer. I've been doing it for almost now, let's see, almost 25 years. And I'm based in Los Angeles, and I grew up here in Southern California.
Mike, to start off with, how did you become involved with making a film about the war in Ukraine, which began in February 2022?
Sure. I've been talking to someone here in LA about doing a different documentary on a completely different subject. And he was friends with someone named Stephen Campos, who is an almond grower up near Fresno. And Stephen is of Spanish heritage. His family is immigrated from Spain. And he, back in Spain, their old family friends were involved with this NGO in Barcelona, the Acció Familiar Barcelona. And he found out what they were doing with Christiana and this nuns and getting these helping these refugees. And he decided he wanted to make a documentary about it. And Stephen had never made a film before. So he reached out, through our mutual contact, he got in touch with me, and really within weeks, we were on our way to Europe to film the documentary. It was very quick.
And how did you connect with Mother Maria Christiana, who led a group of nuns in Ivano-Frankivsk, Western Ukraine, sheltering refugees from the Russian invasion in April 2022?
Yes, so we, through the Actio Familiar, through the NGO, they already were working with Christiana and her order. So when that's how we got introduced to them through them. And when we travel in the film to Ukraine, we go with two volunteers, Eduardo and Rafa, from Barcelona, and they of course knew Christiana well.
Mother Christiana, why did the Ukrainian nuns that you were working with decide to work with the Barcelona-based NGO humanitarian organization Acció Familiar?
it was like kind of a natural thing. It happened because we were good friends with one of the people from Barcelona, Rafa Moreno. He used to come to Ukraine for many years, and we knew him for maybe 20 years before the war started. And Rafa would come to Ukraine and take children in need for the summer to enjoy Barcelona, the sea, and to stay at different homes and families. So the very same day that the invasion started, and we were escaping from our convent because 500 meters from our convent, we have the airport, and some missiles fell there. And so we took the car and the girls that we were taking care of. And in our way to Zakarpattia, the west south part of Ukraine, I got a phone call from Rafa Moreno, and he asked me how can he help. So we didn't know what was going to happen. We had it was very uncertain, everything. We didn't know what will happen. And so we started to help people to go away from Ukraine because we didn't knowing the history of Ukraine, knowing the history of the Soviet Union and how it used to be, we could expect anything. So that's why we immediately started to help families to go away. And Rafa, as a good friend of ours, offered his help. And he started to organize these big buses, bringing them to the border between Hungary and Ukraine, or Poland and Ukraine. And we would start to organize the lists with the families, I mean, the mothers and the children, because the men were not able to leave the country, and help them with the passports, the papers, the documents, comfort them, help them cross the border. And in that way, maybe the third or fourth time Rafa came to pick up the people with buses, they were donating everything, the trips, the gas for the trips, the housing for the people there. Maybe the fourth or fifth time he came with one of his friends, Eduardo Llop. And Eduardo was very moved because he saw that two of the sisters of my community, I usually would stay on the Ukrainian side of the border with the dads that were not able to cross the border. And it was very hard because they would stay still before their wives and children go, but then they would start to cry as children. And the other sisters would cross the border with the mothers and the children. And at 8 in the morning, they finished and they came back to Ukraine. And by foot, they would cross the border by foot. So at 8 in the morning, they came back, and Eduardo asked Rafa, but what about the sisters? Aren't they coming? And Rafa explained him that not. And then Eduardo wanted to show this to the world. And he didn't want to do it with people from Spain, but he right away thought about his good friend, Steven, in California. And then Steven found the way to do this through Mike. That's how we met. That's how I met these people from Hollywood.
Sister, in this documentary, there were about 36 refugees and their families who left Ukraine for Spain. Was there a particular selection process on how you picked people to participate in this?
During the first maybe 6 or 8 months of the war, we helped maybe 10 or 11 to help people for maybe 10 or 11 buses, big buses. One big bus to Holland, to Germany, to Spain. The most were to Spain. I don't remember if 8 or more went to Spain. The first people we helped, of course, were those we knew, the families and the friends we had in Ukraine. And then we just kept the window open many times through the fathers that said goodbye to their families. They told other men or women about this possibility, and people would contact us. And in this way, at the beginning, we helped people from the West, but then we also had people from the eastern part of Ukraine, the southern part of Ukraine, and they were all already not our acquaintances. There were people we didn't know. We're just people in need that needed to find help or housing, or also Axio Familiar helped us to rent houses in the western part of Ukraine for 30 families for 1 year. So it was a lot of work organizing and giving away and trying to do this the most in the best way possible. It wasn't easy to organize, and that was also because we didn't have the training for this. We weren't social workers or.
Mike, the next question's for you. I'm assuming that you were involved in making the logistics for Eduardo and Rafael to travel to Ukraine, or maybe not, but can you address that? I mean, who took care of setting everything up? How difficult was it for them to drive from Spain to Ukraine?
The organization, the NGO, did all the paperwork. That's what they are experts at. They have all the good government contacts to streamline the processes, to get all the paper. We didn't have to deal with any of that. It was very nice. Our route was we flew to Warsaw, and then it's an 8-hour drive from Warsaw across the border into Western Ukraine. And what was very nice was when we got to the border, you see in the film, there's semi trucks lined up for miles waiting to get into Ukraine. And Eduardo says, those trucks can be there for days waiting to get in. But for us, we had a little bit expedited pass. And then when the border guards saw what we were doing, that we were part of an aid organization, they've fast tracked us even more. And we got through the border in a matter of minutes, simply because they saw, oh, you're here to help refugees, go right through. You're bringing aid in. So it actually was fairly simple process to get in, just because of the incredible NGO streamlining it for us.
And sister, I understand there was some bombing going on for the return trip.
Yes.
How difficult was it to actually get the refugees out of the country at that point?
I said that during the documentary, and I keep saying it. And even now, 2 days ago, we had a very terrible night in Ukraine. Unexpected in Zakarpattia, Transcarpathia, some people say. They bombed actually an US
Factory.
Yes. The uncertainty is the biggest, well, not the biggest, because death and other problems are even much worse. But not knowing what to do it's a big thing there. And when this hard situation started, we didn't expect it during the visit of Steve, Mike, and everybody. We didn't know what to do. One of the things we did is to tell the people not to take the trains, because the train stations were places that had been attacked. So we told them not to take the trains till the situation gets easier. And we had a great support from all the group of the filming group, because they agreed to stay even when it was not easy and dangerous. And they stayed with us and waited till the people were ready to go. So they were very committed to the success of the mission. But I can't tell you what we did. We just hoped for the best. It's the only thing you can do in those situations. You can't stop living because everything is bad or wrong or dangerous.
Mike, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of making this documentary?
That's a good question. I would say, for me personally, it was, I was only sleeping a couple hours a night while we were over there, so I was constantly sleep deprived. And but I hired a very good crew, Emmy-winning cinematographers, and my sound guy they all had experience filming in extreme situations. Terrence Pratt has shot Life Below Zero, which is shot in the Arctic Circle for Nat Geo. Jacopo, our other cinematographer, shot the trade, about the drug cartels in Mexico. Brian, our sound guy, had shot several seasons of Naked and Afraid in the jungles. So I knew these guys were all, like I said, look, when we go, we're not going to be staying in hotels. I don't know what the situation is going to be when we get there. And they were down for all of it. So honestly, it was just the marathon of 9 straight days of filming and really being on 24 hours a day the entire time.
You never told me that you weren't sleeping there, Mike.
I had to stay up every night and transfer files, transfer all our video files. Me and the bird upstairs in the office.
Sister, we're now 3 years past when this group of refugees first went to Spain. Are they still in Spain at this point?
Some of them, yes. Some of them came back.
I was going to say one of the girls in it, Paulina, who has the great moment on the bus. She talks about, the world can't get used to war. She's kind of settled there, I think, in Spain, and some others have. And I said, I told my crew at the time, I said, this is how immigrant communities start. This is one of the ways. And some of them will, of course, go home because they love their motherland, but I think some will find a new life in these host countries and maybe decide to stay there. So I think that's beautiful.
Unfortunately, we're just about out of time, but I do have one more question for each of you. Sister, is this program still working now? Are you still sending Ukrainian refugees to Spain or other parts of Western Europe?
We are not doing that systematically, but I keep receiving offers from Eduardo and Acción Familiar that if anybody needs anything, they are ready to help and to receive anybody.
And I think they've gotten something like 600 people out so far. And then some of them are still being supported at the housing there in Barcelona and other houses that they have. Yeah.
And Mike, this question's for you. Has the documentary been officially released yet? And if so, where will it be shown?
Yes, the documentary is officially out in the US, and you can watch it anywhere that you can rent a movie, basically. iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, most pay-per-view, cable TV pay-per-view, it's available. You can rent it on YouTube. It's everywhere now. Very easy to find.
Thank both of you so much for doing this interview today for Krynytsia.
Of course, thank you for having us.
Very much.
I have been speaking with Sister Maria Christiana Demyanchuk, who is a Mother Superior in a convent in Western Ukraine in Ivano-Frankivsk. And her nuns there helped to get out Ukrainian refugees from the war and go to Spain. Mike Dorsey is the director of the documentary Sisters of Ukraine, which documented this effort. And I'm Mike Burek, your host and producer of Krynytsia. This episode today is produced for The Ukrainian Weekly, a newspaper published in English for the global Ukrainian community since 1933. Until next time, that's all for now.